Feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Welcome to the Shrimp Tank post-show wrap-up. I'm your host, Tyler Huck. With me, as always, is my co-host, Allison Baines. And we're with our guest today, Mr. Jamie Adams. And we had a great show. Wanted to remind you to listen to the whole episode on iHeartRadio. You can also go to Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. And remember to go to shrimptankpodcast.com. We are one of the fastest growing entrepreneurial podcasts on the internet. We've got 3 questions for Mr. Adams today. Allison, hit him with the first one.
So as how busy you are and how much you have going on, how do you stay motivated to show up every day?
That's a really, really good question. When we first opened, we had this great idea and we had, all this business and everything was wonderful. The challenge is to stay relevant after that. The honeymoon's over. So now we have to come up with new menus. We need to just keep improving what we do. And it's hard. It's easy to do what you do in your routine and, you hear the specials but we have to work really hard on always coming up with something cool and dynamic. It doesn't have to be the whole menu, but you gotta keep things moving.
We talked about in the episode that you prefer to promote from within when getting to the higher ranks in the restaurant rather than bringing in a new voice from the outside. What brought you to hire that way or really promote that way?
It just kind of happened organically. You start out, I started out with this crew and, I did have a guy that I had worked with for a long time that was my sous chef, my main sous chef when we first opened. And I knew him because he used to work for me at Veni Vidi Vici. So he kind of came up through the ranks, but not in the same restaurant. And then, throughout the years, we have always just brought people up from within. We hire servers and cooks from the outside, but, we have to have the managers, come up and know us. They have to know our philosophy, the way we work and what we value and all that kind of stuff. And we have to share the same kind of values. So that's comes from within, not from outside.
And you had a story of how the concept of Il Giallo came together. Can you tell us that story?
I will. As I've mentioned, my old boss, Pano, once we signed the deal for Il Giallo, he kept telling us, you don't have a concept. I was like, Pano, it's an Italian restaurant. That's a concept. It's not a concept. It's not a concept. So one day at the restaurant, a woman came in. This is at Veni Vidi Vici. Had come in and said she wanted the special from the night before, which is a butternut squash ravioli. And I thought, I know that I have one butternut squash in the walk-in, but it's raw. But tell her yes. In 20 minutes, I will have her butternut squash ravioli. So I took that thing, I peeled it, cut it up in a bunch of little pieces, dropped it in the fryer, patted it dry, mixed it with some cheese, and rolled out some ravioli right in the middle of service, and that's when the light went on. The concept, we're going to make the pasta out in front of everybody during service, and that's how we were born.
That's really cool. I like that. And let your customers be part of your experience.
Yeah, and we do it every single night, and we're always making pasta. Kids come up, people, all sorts of grown-ups come up and ask questions. It's a little bit of a show, and it's the real thing. It also makes a huge difference in the pasta. When we're making those raviolis right there in the moment and passing them back and they're getting cooked, there's nothing like it.
That's really cool.
There was one more experience that you explained to us on this week's episode, and it was about being able to sell the wine retail after.
Correct,
or
yeah.
Really whenever, but if I come into your restaurant and I enjoy a glass of wine, I can actually buy that from you at a reasonable price. I'd never heard that concept before, so explain to the listeners what that's like.
Well, we, a couple of years ago, we just decided to see if we could get a retail license, and it proved fairly easy to do. So, it's not a gigantic part of our business. And it's not every night that somebody says, oh, I like this, I want to buy it. But, it happens. But it's more so we have friends that say, hey, can you get me a case of this, get me a case of that? So we can get anything that anybody wants as long as it's available out there. And it's been a really cool service to provide for people because we sell our wine at a very, very good price. We purposely undercut everybody else.
Not a bad thing. How do people get in touch with you or find out more about your restaurant?
Two of the best places to find out about us are our website, ilgialloatl.com. And you can also see a lot of news on our Facebook page, which is Il Giallo Osteria and Bar. Real easy to get to.
All right, great. Well, that's been the Shrimp Tank post-show wrap-up. Remember to catch the full episode at shrimptankpodcast.com or go to iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else on the internet that you download your podcasts. For Allison and I and our guest, Jamie Adams, owner and chef of Il Giallo, I'm Tyler Huck. Thanks for listening.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond.